Okay, thank you very much for joining. Today we are starting our unit number 5, which is coding and web development. So today we're going to understand the purpose and types of coding. Yeah. So the aim of this unit is to enable learner to understand the fundamental process involved in developing simple programs and application, as well as details of basic website design. So in today's session, what we're going to cover from our indicative content, we're going to see the use of an application in different type of high and low level programming languages, development to assist in the solution of particular problems. Then we'll look into programming languages like C, C#, Python, Java, C++, and JavaScript. Also, we're going to have some factors to compare and contrast programming languages, so we understand why a programming language is more suitable rather than another one. So I do have a nice video which I want to share with you.
The difference between selling on a marketplace and selling with Shopify? When you build a store with Shopify.
Hello, in this video, we are going to explain to you what are the different types of programming languages. A programming language is an artificial language designed to communicate instructions to a machine, particularly a computer. Programming languages can be used to create programs that control the behavior of a machine. It could be a rocket, computer, or even a smart TV. A program is nothing but a list of instructions written in a programming language that is used to control the behavior of a machine. There are many different programming languages, and as per latest data, Java is one of the most popular language that is being used for coding. There are different types of languages. The programming languages are divided into two types, low level and high level. Low level is a language which machine understands and is of two types, assembly and machine language. High level languages are more user friendly and closer to human language. They are of two types, procedural and object oriented. Let's learn more about each of them. Machine language is the language which can directly run on CPU. They are numeric, that means in series of bits which are zeros and ones representing instructions that a computer can understand. This makes it tedious and error-prone to write machine code manually. They are not portable, means a machine language is specific to a particular type of machine only. Ultimately, all languages need to be translated to machine language. On top of it, we have assembly language. Assembly language helped eliminate much of the error-prone and time-consuming machine language programming. It replaces remembering 1 and zeros with instructions which are mnemonic codes for corresponding machine language. Example, it has commands like move, jump, CMP, add, etc. Each assembly language is specific to particular computer architecture and sometimes to an operating system. Examples include MIPS, NASM, x86, etc. Now let's take a look at high-level languages which are portable and statements are in English-like language, making it convenient to use. These include C#, Java, Python, etc. The amount of abstraction provided defines how high-level a programming language is. The high-level languages are also of two types, procedural language and object-oriented language. In procedural language, the program is written in terms of sequence of steps to solve the problem. For example, steps given in a recipe or sequence of steps you follow when you wake up. In object-oriented languages, program is written as interaction of functions between participating objects. For example, in the steps for morning schedule, you have three objects: eye, fridge, and microwave. Each of them maintain their own internal data and expose some functions which others can use. These functions are performed by each of them to perform the sequence of steps. Procedural languages follow a top-down approach with more focus on functions. Object-oriented languages follow a bottom-up approach where there is more focus on data. The disadvantage of procedural language is that data is not secure. Code is interdependent, which makes reuse difficult. Object-oriented languages model real world, so is easier to relate to. It helps in wrapping data and functions in a class, which helps build secure programs. Code is modular and can be extended for reuse. A code in high-level language needs a compiler or interpreter to convert their code into machine language. Let's understand the difference between the two. The compiler translates the high-level instructions into a machine language and generates an executable file like .exe. Interpreter translates the high-level instruction and executes each and every line individually. In our next video, we will learn more about object-oriented concepts in Java.
Okay, so the video explained very in detail the very first concept that we need to understand when it comes to programming languages. So she also mentioned the most common and used programming languages. So nowadays, depending on what type of technology or sector in IT you work in, you'll be now working with a suitable programming language. As of now, the most popular ones are JavaScript, Python, and Java, I would say, which are mainly used in each sector. So these programming languages pretty much does the same thing. So you as a programmer or developer, you will now give some commands to our machine, which will be written in English language, and it will now be converted into binary numbers, which is a combination of 1 and 0s, which is the only thing that a computer can understand. And this conversion is done through a compiler. So what a compiler does is simply takes English language and convert into understandable language for the programming language, which is for the computer, which is a combination of 1 and 0s. So when it comes to programming language, there are languages like Python and JavaScript, which they use an interpreter. So what does the interpreter do? The interpreter will now try to understand the command that you're trying to execute, and will now give you a result. While programming like C++ and Java, they use a compiler. As I said, they will now simply follow the instruction that you give them. They will not try to interpret what you're trying to do. So depending on what technology we work in, we will now look into understanding which one is more suitable. So when it comes to web application, in order for us to create a program and deploy effectively, we now need to choose a suitable programming language and a framework. So JavaScript, as of now, is the king of web development, where most of the web pages, which are web applications which have been deployed in the internet, they're mainly written with the JavaScript. So if you're looking to become a web developer, a software developer, I would really recommend you to learn JavaScript and the basic fundamentals, such as what is a data type, what is a string, what is an integer, and then you have to look into variable and constant. Then you have to be able to work with objects. That's why you now look into object-oriented programming. And when it comes to artificial intelligence, Python has been the most used language when it comes for machine learning and deep learning. So if you're looking to become a machine learning engineer, you will now be required to learn Python. Maybe you definitely need a good understanding of SQL and ability to work with SQL. And also you have to learn some other type of frameworks, such as data visualization, which allows you to plot this data into the machine and generate this useful data. So coming back to our web application, when it comes to building a web app, you need to definitely learn HTML and CSS. So what do we mean by HTML and CSS? HTML is just a markup language where you just add in, just based on tags and text. So whenever you see a static web page which has no design, this is just the HTML page. And to make it to make it to look good and have a good design, you now need CSS, which is cascade style sheet, and you now allow you to have a good design regarding your website. And then when it comes to the behavior of your website, for instance, if you're trying to log in into a portal and does not allow you to log in, this is done through the behavior, which is due to JavaScript. So JavaScript will now dictate how your website should now work. Also, it is important to learn a framework. So nowadays there are tons of framework which allows our web application to be more responsive and user-friendly. So the most famous framework application nowadays are React, Vue, and Angular, which allows you to, customize your web application as much as you can. Then it is important to learn backend, where you now be required to work with programming language like PHP, Java, sometimes JavaScript, or maybe Node.js. And then conclusively, you need to be able to work with database. So you now have to learn database management system, and you need to learn SQL, as I mentioned before, for the artificial intelligence. But in this case, SQL, you will now be required to work with simple commands, which are create, retrieve, update, and delete, which are the CRUD statements. And then this will allow you to manage a database as a database administrator. So a developer who is able to work on front end, back end, and database is classified as a full stack developer. And there is a high demand of full stack developer nowadays, because this is a really high valuable skill, and which I really recommend you to look into. So in tomorrow's session, we'll now look into learning a programming language. So we'll look into data type, and we will now look into writing a command and installing also an IDE. So,
okay.
So this is everything for today. Is there any question?
Yeah, Victor, should I work on the other, what do you call it? Assignments? Because if let's say I made a mistake, or you don't want me to do it this way or that way, should I wait until the feedback, or should I just continue it as usual? And then wait for the feedback.
Continue as usual, submit all of them, and then I will write the comment on the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said this week, right?
Yeah, whenever you finish. Oh, you mean the feedback?
Okay. Yeah, the feedback.
Yeah, the one of last week you received them this week.
And the one, oh, okay, no problem. Thanks. That's all, Victor.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.